Hi, this is Emma from Arise, and I'm here today with Nikki Bradwell, who is going to be our art tutor at Arise Home Education. Nikki, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hello, thanks for having me today. So I live in Fife with my husband and my son, and we home educate our son full time. Um, I originally trained as a printed textile designer at Duncan of Jordan's in Dundee, specialising in screen printing for interiors. And when I left art college, I started my own business and have been doing that ever since, where I design greetings cards and stationery and homewares. And I have a little screen printing set up in my shed, so I'm able to do some of my own work in there. I then carried on to train as an art teacher for secondary age and at Strathclyde in Glasgow. And when I was finished, I went straight into full time teaching for a few years in Dunfermline, Dundee, then ended up in St Andrews with a permanent contract there, and taught part time there, and then worked on my business part time. And I moved to another school, but then in total I did that for 13 years, and decided to come out a few years ago when I was home educating my son full time. And I now teach art classes across Fife through my business, from age 3 up to teenage years.
Fantastic. I never knew about the printing. Textile
Yeah,
printing is really cool.
yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about what your class at Arise will look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So it will be a fortnightly high school practical art skills course, and the foundational part of the course will be on drawing and learning about the visual elements. So the visual elements include line, shape, color, pattern, form, texture, and tone. And those practical skills will be developed throughout the course, through different projects, including portraiture, where we'll look at the work of Van Gogh, and we will look at his style of work. I will teach the students the proportions of the face and show them how to do it themselves, how to add tone to their work, how to create different moods with the colours that they use, and the different materials that they use. We'll move on to look at the built environment, and look at shape and line and how to create tone with pen and wash. The students will then take some key elements from that drawing, and they will create a collagraph, which is a form of printing, which is one layer and then putting different shaped layers on top, and then you ink it up, and you print with that. And the students will create a repeat pattern, so they'll print that multiple times. We will then plan to look at the work of Gaudi, who was an artist and architect in Spain, and he had really striking work, and I think that students really enjoy studying his work. So they'll look at elements of nature and look at different shapes and forms, and they will create that in clay, and thinking about texture. Following on from that, the students will look at still life and objects around their home that have sentimental value to them. And they will combine some objects to create a composition which is meaningful to them. And we will look at drawing techniques of how to draw those. And we'll end the year tying in with the British Literature course. We will look at Pride and Prejudice and the work of Philip Tracy, who is a hat designer, and the students will have the opportunity to create their own 3D piece, wearable art, to make a hat. And I'm hoping to introduce them to Modrock, which is the material you use when you break your arm. So it's really soft to begin with, and then it goes hard, and the students will be able to paint it. And as well as that, throughout the year, I'm hoping that the students will respond to and look at the work of artists as we go along. They'll be able to give feedback, and they will also create a visual essay where they'll collect images, and they will write little notes and respond to their work. The cost of enrolment in the course actually includes a materials kit, which will be sent to the students and is included in the cost.
That is absolutely amazing. When I heard about what you're going to teach, I was like, wow, it just sounds such a great class. And that the kids are actually going to be learning these amazing skills. And that was one of the questions was about the art kit. So parents signing up, they don't need to go and do this crazy sourcing all this art equipment and stuff, because I think it's almost a barrier for doing art in homeschool. That will be all provided. So it's just a really exciting class. What about kids who maybe feel that they're not good at art, but they actually really enjoy being creative and being artistic? What would this class suit kids that just feel they're a bit rubbish at art, even though that's probably not true, but yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the whole point of this year for me is to encourage a joy of experimenting with different materials, of enjoying the process of experimenting and being creative and learning about different artists as they go along. And they'll see when they look at the artist's work how the artists themselves, their work changed over time as they experimented and they played. And I feel like I've given enough variety in the course that, you know, if one area is a bit challenging, then the next one, you know, they might find a bit more ease. And so there should be a balance across the year where they'll enjoy the process of working in 2D and in 3D. I know some people's, you know, might love the idea of working in clay and mod rock and in hands-on, and others might, you know, feel a bit nervous about that. But I think once, you know, with some instruction from me and I always do demos to show the students how to use the materials. And I think by doing that, they will feel more at ease, I hope, to just enjoy working with the materials. And again, it's a practical art skills where hopefully there's less pressure and there's just space to enjoy it as well.
Fantastic. Well, check out her Nikki's class, and thank you so much for sharing a little bit about the class. It just sounds such an exciting opportunity that a lot of home educators just don't really get the chance of doing at home unless you've got a parent who is particularly artistic like Nikki.
Yeah.
My kids, not so much, but yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.